could be chaos. And one of them blew my mind. Like it was like a cheat code. I was like, what? Like, how is this kind of gold just sitting around on the internet? Marketers are looking at this as a threat. And so you've spent a lot of time, a lot of investment developing methods that have gotten you a number of customers, but they're not as relevant anymore. So obviously there'll be some resistance. Obviously you don't like that. It's because of course you would tell me to buy a product. You're a business and you are trying to make money. Now it's not enough anymore for you to just tell me, oh, I go to shop this side and I sell this. No, there's someone else who sells the same thing. Why should I go to yours instead of them? Give me a reason to get a phone. Because unlimited data is not enough of a reason for me to inconvenience myself to go buy a SIM. That's a lot of money that's being missed. Me buying from you helps you. What's in it for me? I'm not your friend, right? You are saying you have a solution to my problem. I've come. And now you have stopped offering me a solution. There was an 18% increase in revenue growth for the ones who are using social media. This is the interesting part. There was a 6% decrease for the ones who are not. A failed marketing strategy is where you don't make a profit on your marketing. You literally even overtake a giant in your field. My name is Chikoni Tembo, and my mission is to make good marketing common knowledge. Hello everyone, or hello person if there's just one person watching this. So the kind of information that I wanted, or the discussion that I wanted to have, I couldn't package it in short form content. So I was just like, okay, fine, let's do a YouTube video. And like, it's so relevant because for me, I was like, let me start from here. I'm doing a $10,000 challenge where I'm listening to $10,000 of audiobooks relevant for social media marketing, because I want to become very proficient at social media marketing. Not because like I'm a marketing consultant or marketing expert, I have no academic background in terms of marketing, but because I'm a business owner. And one of the two skills that are very fundamental to the success of a business is sales and marketing. Sales gets the money from the client, marketing brings them to your door. And if you can do these two things proficiently, that literally dictates the growth of your business. And so, as someone who has heard this information from successful people, of course I'm going to take it, right? To become successful, become wealthy, do what the rich do, and you get the wealth. It's a principle of reaping and sowing. Sow the same seeds that they sowed, and you reap the harvest that they reaped, right? So yeah, one of the things that they said was learn sales, learn marketing, literally dictates the growth of your business, and it makes sense. So I've been learning marketing. So aside from listening to the audiobooks, which I've just been cramming one after the other, I started reading articles to try and understand peer-reviewed articles. So these are like downloading them from Google Scholar and the like. And one of them blew my mind. Like it was like a cheat code. I was like, what? Like, how is this kind of gold just sitting around on the internet and no one is like screaming on the top of their lungs about this kind of information? Because this is why I'm saying it's a glimpse of the future. As Zambia, right, so a country in Africa who is underdeveloped, we are a couple of years behind in development in regards to the West, right? And this debate goes on, how many years behind. Some are saying a century, some 50 years, some 20 years, some 30 years, and all these things that's not relevant. What's relevant is this: when it comes to development, there are certain things that are unique in regards to the culture, because development is influenced by culture. So there are certain things that will be unique to a society, but there are certain things that are the same throughout all societies because they are natural effects of various causes. So for example, if a society starts doing mass production, there are certain things that are inevitable for that society to develop. Options is developed, and a better economy is developed, richer people, people become richer, and all these things, they are not unique to an individual society. Every society goes through it, right? And so when you have history of a developed country and you're able to see, or you're able to decipher what would be the most common thing in regards to this is what happened to them, so this is what's going to happen to us, you are practically, in my opinion, looking into the future. And that's one of the advantages of being a couple of years behind. You can see some of the mistakes they made and not do them, and you can see some of the things that would propel you, and you would do it far much earlier than they did it. So you are learning from them, right? This one in particular is something that's an inevitability, and we're at the point, this aspect, we're at a point in Zambia where that's the kind of change that happened during that period of time for them. It's about to happen now, and business owners can position themselves to get the maximum benefit from it, because we already know what happened when that kind of change happened. But there's a bit of difference, there's a uniqueness in terms of the position that we are in, largely because in a globalized society, right, we are trading information with the West, like so easily. We're able to see what's happening in the country, they're seeing what's happening in our country, and all these things, that to the extent that we talk almost as if we are at the same level systemically, right? So let me give an example of someone who noticed this and practically called it out. So Vusi Tembekwayo, in one of his short videos on Instagram, from one of his talks, was saying, you see entrepreneurs coming with these kind of business ideas, noticing this kind of problems, and they're giving all these suggestions, and then he said this. Now, this is almost verbatim. They're trying to solve first world problems in third world countries. Now, the thing is that it's not like the entrepreneur is not aware of the problems that are in the third world countries, right? Or in the African countries. It's just that they are being exposed to problems that are not really relevant for us now, because our system hasn't yet developed to that degree. So we're thinking more advanced than our current business landscape actually is. And that kind of advanced thinking, because of all this information that we have access to from people who have gone through various stages of development, has done something to the consumer's mind in, for the sake of this video, in Zambia. We have far more complex consumers, more sophisticated, the kind of consumers that came up as a result of certain developments that happened in the West. So according to the article, it was in the Netherlands. So the development that happens in the Netherlands changed the consumer, evolved the consumer, and because the consumer evolved, it evolved what marketing was, right? And so we are at that point where the consumer has already changed, and the ones, and I'm actually seeing there's some businesses that are acting on it because they're starting to realize that's actually true. The consumer has actually changed, and they're acting on it already. There's certain businesses that are not seeing it yet, right? But the system is still at the point where it's using the old marketing methods. And because of that, that's why it seems like in their eyes, their marketing is working. But the only reason why it seems to be working is because their competitors haven't yet broken through in regards to the information that the consumer's minds has changed, means the strategies need to change. And the reason why these, even the bigger businesses, who struggle to change, or why there's resistance to change, is because they have been building skills and methods and ways of marketing and reaching out to these people that the change is kind of making obsolete now, or not even obsolete, but less relevant. And so you've spent a lot of time and a lot of investment developing methods that have gotten you a number of customers, but they're not as relevant anymore. So obviously there'll be some resistance. Obviously you don't like that. So yeah, what we'll do is look at 4 of these changes, right, that are currently in Zambia about to happen, that the business landscape is going to look very different very soon. And it could be chaos. And we've already seen a glimpse of it. We've already seen a glimpse of the kind of chaos that is there in the Yango and the Lendo battle. But there are going to be far more battles like that. And it's all because of these 4 things. So one of them is the development of the internet. 2, social media. 3, the advent of shopping. And 4, the rise of the middle class. So I'll be speaking how things were in the West and how these developments completely changed the business landscape and the mind of the consumer, and as a result, evolved marketing to what it currently is now. And then I'll show how where the West was then is where Zambia is now, and we're about to go through that practical evolution, because theoretically we have already evolved, but practically we haven't. And that's why you're listening to the West and they're talking about how social media can blow you up and you become a millionaire and all these things, and you're looking at your current market, you're looking at the Zambian system, just like, well, it looks like some good idea for the West, but it doesn't look like it's something that can work for us. No, it's not like it can't work for us. We are bound to start seeing those kind of developments in terms of business and how they are growing and the like. And some businesses are already seeing it. So before we proceed, let me just read an excerpt from the article. So the article, I can't pronounce the author's name, so I'll just like put it up there. But it's called Foundations of Social Media Marketing. So practically, you even know to go through the history and through the evidence that it was actually working, and through the various reports that were happening during that period of time. But this is like a summary of what the article is about. Just in case you're interested in reading, I might put the link down below, I'm not sure. So let me read it. This paper addresses the increasing pressure on marketers to adjust their approaches in communicating and interacting with their customers in the evolving marketing ecosystem where technology plays an increasing important role. It reviews the literature and field experiences on the nature of Web 2 domain. So Web 2 domain is what they call social media. So Web 1 was the internet, then Web 2 was what they called another development in regards to a wider space of information that the internet, that was a result of the internet. So that's why they call it Web 2.0, right? What they called collective intelligence. That's what they call social media. So Web 2.0, social media. So it reviews the literature and field experiences on the nature of the Web 2.0 domain, identifies and classifies the possible roles of social media domain as marketing parameters, and explains their contribution to the customer empowerment. It argues that while developments in the social media domain are often perceived as strategic threats by marketers, there are several options for them to turn them into strategic opportunities. The social media domain presents businesses with new opportunities of improving their competitive position and creating new forms of customer value that will attract new customers and help building strong relationships with them. The paper proposes a classification of the various social media applications and identifies their roles as part of the marketing toolbox of the 21st century marketer. So like based off this excerpt, you could see the resistance, right? When it said marketers are looking at this as a threat, and largely like I had mentioned, you've been building skills in regards to billboards and flyers and posters and all these things, and then someone comes to tell you that won't be as relevant anymore. Of course you resist. You think my job is at stake. You think something's going to go wrong and all these things. But aside from the marketers feeling that way, business owners all of a sudden start feeling that way, and we'll go into detail why they consider that as a threat to them, right? So we'll start with the history of marketing. So now this is history of marketing according to the West, right? History of marketing according to the West. What position were they in? What were they dealing with? So the West, according to the article, and also this is also coupled with information from the book How to Make People Care, right? Yeah, How to Make People Care. I might also put it here. Yeah, so what was happening in the West is that they only had like 4 avenues of marketing, which was TV, and which was relatively new at that point. TV, radio, what they called out of home, which was like posters, billboards, taxi, and I think I've seen this in the movie where they're putting we're branding practically taxis and putting advertisements with them. I've seen it on buses and the like in movies and the like. So that is what we'll call out of home, and print. So newspapers and the like. So they only had these 4 avenues of advertising. And so what practically had consumed the marketing landscape at that point was promotion, right? So promoting or advertising, pushing product. That's what was really what marketing was. And there are two reasons. One, there's not much that you can say on those kind of platforms because you don't have a lot of screen time, that's a lot of money. You don't have a lot of voice time or speaking time on the radio, that's also a lot of money. But on posters and print, there's not much that you can say. And because there are fewer options in categories, so for example, you have someone selling bread and there are only like two companies, really, like you don't really have to explain much to consumers because either way they're only just the few options. So you just tell them, oh, we sell bread at this shop, or we sell bread at this other shop, and the consumers will pick. So that's what took the bulk of what marketing was. It was largely an aspect of promotion, which was constantly pushing out awareness. Just make them know where we are and what product we sell, they'll come. And that used to work for a while, right? Until one of the first changes that happened was the development of the internet. Now, like I had mentioned, these four avenues that were first started with, not much that you can say with the consumer. But with the development of the internet, where now you have like websites and there's so many other things, and you can have longer conversations, you can say far much more for cheaper, right? But that wasn't where the big change was in regards to marketing. It was the development of social media. The reason why that was a big change was because now there was something called user-generated content. When you go on the internet, you're a consumer, right? You read a blog post, you're learning information on company websites, and like you're just consuming this information. But with social media, the users started generating the content itself. And social media is not just like Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and all these things, and we're thinking about this kind of applications like and that, and that's what social media is. No, social media is a broad concept that encompasses user-generated content. So for example, you have a community forum and people are able to comment, people are able to say things. That is social media. Quora, social media. Reddit, social media. It's wherever the users can actually put out information themselves. That's what is social media, right? Now at this point, the ways that social media changed the landscape was this. One of the marketing principles is that people are more willing to believe other people's opinions in regards to recommendations and like to make a buying decision than they are mainstream media and the companies themselves, right? So if you tell me, buy my good, it's really great and the like, I'll think about it until someone tells me, no, actually that is a great product. And the reason why I'm willing to believe them is because of course you would tell me to buy a product. You're a business and you are trying to make money, right? So you're not as reliable. Even experts who are reviewing products on behalf of companies and the like, and they're not independent but attached to those companies, it's also hard to believe them because like you have something to gain. But an independent user, one who has used your product and is telling it to use, has nothing to gain from telling me that it's great. Meaning, I'm more likely to believe that they are more sincere. So as a result, social media where all these opinions are being given, all grievances are being shared, and people are gathering because now social media ties into the human need to be in community, share experiences, and click. And because human beings generally are the same to some degree, we gather around the most familiar things, right? So for example, heartbreak is not unique to Africa, right? Like around the world, people get heartbroken. So we can all gather around that topic. And so a bad experience in regards to a business, there's definitely other people who have that experience and they gather. And now watching that content ourselves as users, when we're seeing people saying this, our opinions start forming around these businesses. And so that started now really threatening businesses because now people's minds are being made up because they're having conversations with someone else, and businesses have no control over that. But aside from that, because now they are able to share this kind of information, they're starting to become a lot more complex. Because before, because there were fewer options that were there, they just had to get what's available. But now there are more options, and now they're becoming far more complex in how they are searching for information, how they're evaluating information, how they are trying to confirm certain things, and the like. And so now social media has become a place that's evolving the mind of the consumer. Now it's not enough anymore for you to just tell me, oh, I go to shop this side and I sell this. No, there's someone else who sells the same thing. Why should I go to yours instead of them, right? And so the conversation changes. Now marketing, just doing promotion is not working anymore. But then another thing that even makes it even worse for the consumer in regards to why promotion is just at this point not going to be enough is that the advent of shopping. So the article is written in the Netherlands. So in the Netherlands, when department stores are coming about, and department stores, they have aisles with similar products, so gloves of this brand and this brand and this brand and this brand, and now people had these many options, right? And now they needed more for them to pick one brand over the other. Things stopped being about functionality, and so they now start, they need more information. It's not enough for you to say, oh, buy my gloves. It's like, why yours? Why not the other guys? Right? No, mine are better. Well, it seems like the same quality, right? So this has been about a function aspect. And what even adds to that is the rise of the middle class. Because coming from a position where you're on the poorer side and like you stick to your needs, but now the middle class has got disposable income. They don't have to stick to their needs. Now they're going with what they want, what they desire, how they feel. And that even adds on to the fact that now purchasing decisions become far more emotional, right? Because you have disposable income than it is logical. It's not a matter of functionality now. It's what you want. And what you want is usually tied to emotions, because like it's another marketing principle, is that people buy emotionally and justify logically, right? So they buy this because they want this, because they feel a certain type of way about it. Then after they buy it, then they will come and explain why this is the most sense. Example is people who buy an iPhone, right? If we're talking about functionality, no, the kind of camera, no, the kind of what, and all these things, and like, you can pull up so many other phones that are like, oh, this one has a better camera. Oh, this has been doing this for this Android has been doing this for a while. This one, it's like, why did you buy an iPhone? And sometimes they'll go quiet, right? Because like I just wanted it, because true, you just wanted it. It was how you felt about it. It wasn't about functionality, right? You bought emotionally, and then you used the features of iPhone and all these other things to justify your decision, right? So that's what happened to the consumer. They had more options. Now, because they had more options, and now they could hear other people's opinions on it, and people would flock under this brand compared to this other brand for various other reasons, they became complex in how they process buying decisions, right? And so now you just tell me, oh, we have this, oh, we have that. Not relevant for me anymore. There's something else that I'm looking for, and something that's more emotional, right? And I won't even say it. I can't even articulate it. But now I need more information, right? Now I need more information to make a buying decision. And now this was the evolution of marketing. It moved from promotion and evolved into psychology, right? Now, marketers needed to understand how consumers were thinking for them to market them. You understand the emotions behind the decisions, you know exactly what to speak to for them to buy your product. And this information, we know it theoretically, but this is what I was saying. We are currently still just promoting. Majority of marketing budgets for companies are putting things on billboards. And when you look at the billboard, what solution is it offering? It's practically just pushing product, because it doesn't have space to do anything else, right? It can only push product. When you look at how they've been making digital posts on social media, right? Like when you look at what's on the digital post, does it speak to what your emotion? Does it speak to do you look and say, that's me? It sounds like me. It sounds like what I've been looking for, right? You actually find yourself in a position where you have to make the buying decision your own. Very few times, because I remember I was having a conversation with someone and asked, when was the last time you saw a billboard and you're like, that's something I'm looking for. Let me go to that place, or let me make that order, let me call that number, so that I can get that, right? Or you look at the billboard and it's like, I didn't even know that was a problem with me, but it makes a lot of sense and I need that. Making a buying decision off a billboard, I don't even know I've ever made a buying decision off a billboard. And the other people that I was talking to said, yeah, I've never actually done that. in the end, billboards feel more like status symbols more than they are to get customers, right? And so the customer's mind has evolved. Now they are far more complex. They are harder to persuade. They are harder to convince, and they're even harder to retain than before. Before, awareness was enough. Now you need to give them more information, right? So there's this quote that I kind of paraphrased from the article itself. It said, social media made customers more sophisticated and helped them develop new tactics in searching, evaluating, choosing, and buying goods and services. So yeah, that just practically summarizes everything about who the evolved consumer is, right? Like I said, they're more inclined to listen to the opinion of someone else because it's more sincere in their mind, right? And so as a result, on social media, where people are giving recommendations, where people are giving their bad, they're going to adopt those ideas. They're going to adopt those opinions and then solidify them in their mind in terms of positions. So immediately I put, let's say for example, I'm dealing with banks. Immediately I put FNB as number one in my mind. Every time I have a banking issue, my solution is FNB, right? And so, like, that's what's important to a business now. Positioning your business in the mind of the consumer that they, when think of a problem, you are their solution. They don't have to go out and say, okay, which bank will I go to? And like, no, you are their automatic solution, right? Because you have positioned yourself that way. But that means you would have explained to the consumer in such a way that they understand all this stuff. So yeah. Oh yeah, I was going to give an example. So Z Mobile, recent addition to the telecommunications companies in Zambia, right? I was walking back from a mall, and one of the people who I think they were doing sales or something, I don't know, or giving brand awareness or something. So they approach me and say, "Oh, I'm from Z Mobile," and so I'm like, "Oh, interesting. I've been learning sales. I've been learning marketing, especially sales." So I'm like, "Let's see how this salesperson will sell me this product, right?" So I'm like, "Oh, okay," and I slow down and let's have this conversation. He's like, "I'm from Z Mobile." I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, like read the conversation, and the person goes quiet a bit, and it's like, yeah, um, it's a new SIM card, like MTN and Airtel. I'm like, okay, yeah, at this point it's 20 kwacha a SIM card, and right now they're having this promotion for unlimited data. So I'm like, okay. And it's like, yeah, so if you're interested, you can find us at Leoni Kamo. So I'm like, okay. And the person leaves. And so I'm like, you, like, I already have 3 SIM cards. Airtel, MTN, and Zambian, right? I have a phone that only accepts 2. So one of those SIM cards is out. Why would I get a 4th? And that's not like an illogical question. The thing is, give me a reason to get a 4th. Because unlimited data is not enough of a reason for me to inconvenience myself to go buy a SIM. Like, it's fine. I'll just keep on buying the same bundles that I buy. Alright? And so now what I observed from that interaction is he had no idea where my mind was at in regards to what problem telecommunications solve for me, what I'm looking for, how I feel about where my emotions are at. And hence, all he did was just promote his product to a more complex consumer, hence missed the sale. And if he did that with me, I am certain that he didn't all of a sudden just change and next person he asked the right questions and the like. But that's how it is. That's a lot of money that's being missed. And the reason why it's being missed is because you don't understand the consumer. And that's what's happening currently. More complex mind of the consumer, and Zambian businesses are missing them. So, yeah, I think I'm done with that. I mentioned marketing became psychological, right? You have to understand what they want, what motivates them, and understanding that you'll be able to sell your product to them, and you draw in far more people because sales deals with like individuals, right? Marketing deals with groups. right? So you're drawing in 1,000 people, you're drawing in 10,000 people using marketing. Then sales is closing the deals with them, right? So in marketing, you're drawing in this number of people, meaning that you have to communicate in a way that those number of people understand, in a way that those number of people feel seen, in a way that those number of people feel like you are actually solving the problem. Because people come very selfishly. They come and say, what's in it for me, right? Even as you're watching this video, at this point, if you haven't watched up to this point, if you have reached this point, this entire time, the reason why you have reached this point is because you felt like, okay, he's giving me something I want. Not because, oh yeah, I want to support him and what. He's giving me something I want. And he's explaining things in a way that I want them. So I'll keep on watching as long as it seems relevant for me, right? And that's the consumer. You come and say, oh, buy this. It's like that, me buying from you helps you. What's in it for me, right? What's in it for me? And the answer is, if you can't explain how this solves any of my problems in life, then you've lost me. If you can't explain how that helps me and makes my life better, then you have lost me, right? So now, where is Zambia at, right? Where does this leave Zambia? This leaves Zambia at this point. We're at the point where the market is about to break. And the reason being is now we had very few options. For example, when you look at telecommunications, we only had 3. All of a sudden, Z Mobiles, come on, now we have 4. And it's not going to be the only one. When Orlando came on the market, we only had, the taxis were there, but in terms of a more personalized transportation system, when Orlando came on the market, it was the only option. And then all of a sudden, Yango came on the market. Now we had to choose, and then there was a battle, right? And even after Yango took position, more InDrive came in, Boat came in, Okra, forgotten the other companies that came in, right? More and more still came in, and that's the current market we're in. Places where there were very few options are increasing. More and more competitors are coming on board in the same category, right? Now, with that happening, the business that's going to actually explain how their product helps and improves the lives of their consumers in a language and way that the consumer understands will take the market, completely take the market. And so what should businesses be doing? Adjusting. They should be adjusting to the new norm, right? Which is a more complex consumer. And the more complex consumer is not starting out now. We have always been more complex consumers. The only reason why we haven't noticed it is because in the same category, they have all been promoted. So we're like, it's norm. They have all been promoted. But immediately one of those in those categories, for example, the banks, right? Immediately just one of the banks starts marketing from a psychological, strategic point of view, whoever that bank is will take the cake. Why? Because now people, you're able to identify the problems that are in their lives and you're presenting yourself as a solution. The banks before, right, were just promoting. You as a consumer had to do the work, to think and do all this research and try and find out, is this the bank that I should use and the like, and sometimes they're not even forthcoming with the information and the like, and then you just give up and say, okay, fine, I'll just take this one, right, based off recommendations and based off what. But now this is someone who's strategically using social media to create enough buzz that people talk, right? And not just that, create give enough value that people look and draw loyalty to. They draw loyalty to themselves, right? So people are moving and saying, yeah, I want to follow this guy. This guy is saying a lot of sense. This guy is giving me stuff, right? He's giving me information on how I can live far much better through in this aspect that they are in, which is what the bank solve. People will flock. People will always tell customers are disloyal and are fickle and the like, but in truth, customers go to where their needs are being met, where their problems are being solved. They're not fickle. I'm not your friend, right? Like in terms of a business, I'm not your friend, right? You are saying you have a solution to my problem. I've come. And now you have stopped offering me the solution, or someone is actually offering me a far better solution than you are. Why am I staying, right? Give me a reason to stay. And in truth, the only thing that is coming out of your mouth is buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. Buy. Because someone else seems to be giving far much more than you are, right? They seem more like a friend. So from that perspective, businesses need to start adjusting. One of the reports in the same article actually said that it was a report that Stephen Zana, I'll put the article there, said that marketers who actually went and started using social media during that time in the Netherlands said 80% of the marketers who started, 81% of the marketers who started using social media reported more market exposure, right? 61% of those who started using said there was an increase in customer traffic. 56% said it resulted in business partnerships, right? And 45% said it reduced marketing costs. And that's a good thing with user-generated content. Some of the marketing is going to be done by people who you're not even paying at all, right? Because they're just creating enough buzz and people start talking. Another study based on ones using social media, the top 20% performers said that customers recommending their products and services to others was 95% of the cases. The people who are coming through social media and actually getting satisfied, 95% of them were recommending their products. There was a higher return on the investment put in the marketing, right? 87% of those top performers recorded that there's been a higher return on our marketing investment. Customer acquisition rate had increased in 95% of the cases, right? Another report said that comparing the ones who were using social media, the financials of the ones using social media and the ones who were not, they said that when it came to revenue growth, 18%, there was an 18% increase in revenue growth for the ones who were using social media. But this is the interesting part. There was a 6% decrease for the ones who were not. And remember what I had said before, when one person starts explaining to the consumer, actually communicating to the complex consumer, they will start flocking to that person, because for the first time in their customer journey, someone has actually addressed their need and explained it to them and given them value. They are flocking. It's not just buy my product, buy my product. It's now value. They go to them, right? So there was actually a 6% decrease to the ones who were not using. In gross margins, there was a 50% increase for the ones who were using and a 9% decrease for the ones who were not using. In net margins, there was a 4% increase for those who were using and 11% decrease for those who were not using. That goes to show that social media is about to change the business landscape. And the ones who are not using it well, it's going to cost their business, right? Some businesses, when Orlando had first come on board, and I know I talk about Orlando, but that was an interesting battle between Orlando and Yango. Brilliant. It was the only one on the market. I was a supporter of Orlando, and it's just like, it's brilliant, right? It's an innovation. It's going to develop Zambia, and there's so much potential in this. But the better marketer came and was able to crush them, right? So if they don't change, things are going to go bad. Another one is there's better access. So in social media, there's better access to the minds and relevant information from the consumers, right? So because you want to position yourself in the consumer's mind, because now it's a psychological game, right? That you offer a solution to their problems, you offer a solution to their issues. You want to position yourself well. And how do you do that? Where they are forming opinions. They are forming opinions on social media. They're exchanging ideas. They're talking to other people. They're discussing experiences and the like. So go there where they're forming opinions. Contribute in their narrative and position yourself in the consumer's mind as a solution to a problem that you're fixing. That way, you have many flocking to you. Because immediately I say you are a solution to this exact problem, there are hundreds of thousands of people who agree with me. And when I post something about it, they'll come and like, they'll come and they'll come and comment, and those people would then follow my recommendation, right? Because like I said, marketing principle, people look at other people's recommendations as more superior than even the company's own. So that's one of the way. That's one of the things that we need to do. Another thing is give them the information, give the consumers the information they're looking for. They're more complex now. They're looking for information. They're looking for explanations. Some of them are not even looking for it. They don't even know they have the problem that you are solving. Give them that information and they'll take it. So market psychologically. I'm trying to rush through this because this has taken far longer than I had intended. So another thing I had mentioned this is that they are influenced by others' opinions, and I think I've said this throughout, so I don't even need to give the examples that I have given. But the last benefit is that it's far cheaper, right? From the reports, but even generally based off your interactions, organic content, you don't really need to spend much on your daily posts, right? But that could blow up and get you far more customers, right? On social media than even an ad can get you, right? Because that's how the algorithm works and like so. Hence, you have got a lower client acquisition cost. That means how much does it cost you to get one client on board? And businesses that don't calculate that underestimate how much they spend in marketing. And that's why for them, they look at marketing as an expense and not as an investment. Because they don't really even know if they're getting a return on how much they're doing. It's just like every business market, so I have to market, it's part of the process. No, you are investing. So a failed marketing strategy is where you don't make a profit on your marketing, right? And that's a failed one. And so you're investing. And so invest and actually see a return. So lower acquisition cost. Another one is this one, market research, right? This usually people use surveys, or companies use surveys, companies use focus groups, and all these other things. I know this costs a lot of money, but social media, people are complaining on your posts, right? You have instant feedback, right? You can search your name on social media and like and see who's talking about what are they complaining about, what are they praising, what are they saying we should improve. You can literally even put a poll on your page, and this is all free. And because these are people who are on social media and they have this certain bravery, like this braveness that they can say whatever they want, and like they will give you their honest opinions. They won't just praise you as if, they'll give you their honest opinions. And that information is how you can then tailor your business to promote true customer satisfaction. Because the more satisfied the customer is, the more that they are going to recommend you to various other people, and that will increase your sales. And that's marketing done right, having other people market for you. And so, yeah, this was the article that I read, and this is the information that I found. We're literally at a point where we're already complex in regards to the minds of the consumer, and the people or the businesses that are going to give us that information, we're going to flock to them. We're going to go to them, right? Instead of just pushing product, starting to market psychologically, enter in our minds, and actually doing things that take us to your doorstep, make us want to buy from you, right? That's what's relevant. So for the businesses that are going to then start marketing psychologically, trying to dive into the mind, they are going to win the cake. You can literally even overtake a giant in your field because you're the only one who's actually reaching their minds and reaching their minds well. Yeah, so I hope this was valuable. I don't know if in editing I'll be able to reduce the time, but yeah, let's see how that